Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for coming out. I know it's really cold outside, and you all didn't have to do that. You could have stayed at home and, watched television or something. I'm sure there are crime scenes that need investigating, or housewives that need to keep it real, or anything. So I appreciate you all coming out, and it is really cold, and you all came out and chose to see me. Like, you all could have gone to a Broadway show. You could have gone to see Spider-Man. I'm a comic book fan. I like comic books. I really wanted to write my own comic book one day. I was going to call it Spider-Man. Now, before you call Marvel's lawyers, my comic book was not about a man who gets powers after being bitten by a radioactive spider, but it was about a spider who gets bitten by a radioactive man. So he doesn't really have any powers, per se. He just kind of sits on the couch, plays Xbox, complains about how he's overqualified for the job he's got, and just tries to stay one step ahead of his arch nemesis, Black Spider-Man, who's just an exterminator named Tyrone. But no, thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Also because, no offense, but this show is not for you all. Like, you guys were impatient and you came to see me tonight, but I'm actually doing this for television. There are cameras around, and this is for TV. Like, this is for these people. Like, hey, you guys good? How you doing? You on the couch? Yeah, look at you. What are you eating? That looks good. You know what? Get cozy. Take your pants off. You can do it. Yeah. Not like these idiots. They were impatient. I don't even know who they are. They're just a bunch of meat-filled skin bags I found. You know what? I'll see you later. I'll see you at home. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I just had to say that for TV's benefit. You all aren't meat-filled skin bags. You're all lovely people. But I had to say it for TV. Because I love TV. TV, I'm biased because TV pays my rent. And TV is the best roommate you could ever have. It is. TV never leaves dishes in the sink. With TV, when you come home, TV's never bugging you with stories about how Peggy in accounting's an asshole. So she wouldn't take your time card after 5. Come home and TV's just like, oh man, you'll never believe what's happening in Afghanistan. Ugh, that sounds depressing, TV. You're right. You want to watch two ladies make out? Yes, I do. Yes. Thank you, TV. Don't worry about your half of the rent. I was at a party recently, because I have friends who invite me places. But I was at this party, and I was talking with this group of people, and in this group, this guy starts talking about how there was a robbery in his neighborhood. And I was like, oh, that reminds me of this episode of Law and Order. Which it actually reminds me of like every episode of Law and Order. But before I can finish, the guy cuts me off and he's like, I don't watch TV. I have better things to do. Which then I felt bad because I was like, oh, maybe he's poor. But then everybody else in the group starts chiming in. They all hate TV. Like this couple, they knew the exact date they threw out their TV. They celebrate the anniversary of when they became boring. And then there was this guy, and he's talking about how he threw out his TV and he reads all these books and he's gotten so much healthier and he's lost all this weight. No. Then this one lady, I think she was just trying to fit in, and she was like, I threw out a 42-inch plasma. I gave it to a hobo. And everybody like clapped for her. And now I'm feeling embarrassed. I feel like I've just shown up to this party with a booger hanging off my dick. Like, that's how embarrassed they made me feel. That I showed up to a party with no pants on and something that belongs in my nose on my penis. And now the whole world knows about my secret booger penis. And now they're starting to yell at me, and they're just like, I don't know how you could watch it. It's such a waste of time. And I finally, I lose it. I'm like, all right, calm down, everybody. Just calm down, okay? You know what? I get it. You all hate TV. You hate TV. That's fine. But you know where else you can find terrible stuff? In books. You think Snooki's a piece of shit? Read her book. Everybody you hate on TV, they probably have a book. There are some shitty books out there. Books that'll rot your brain, they'll ruin your eyes if you read them in the dark. But nobody ever seems to lose their shit when a new Twilight book comes out. No, nobody's ever like, ew, books are ruined. They're ruined forever. Get them all out of my house. Yucky. No, throw out all the Pulitzers. From now on, I'll get my information the old-fashioned way, by reading Deer Scat. Ooh, here's an interesting tale about a deer that ate carrots. Yep, those are carrots. I'm gonna have trouble putting this down. I think part of the reason I get so annoyed by people who hate television is because I have a neighbor who is one of these TV-hating people. She hates television, and she's really snotty about it. Like, really snotty about it to the point where she'll come over to my place and she'll hang out, and then if the TV's on, she'll roll her eyes, go back to her apartment, crochet herself a bird bath. And then to add insult to injury, she'll jack up her stereo and start blasting NPR through the walls. Now, there are certain things that you can blast through a stereo. You can blast hip-hop. You can blast heavy metal. You can't blast All Things Considered. And just think I'm going to be like, oh, shit. Are they talking about that new Michael Chabon book? That's my jam. Turn it up. I want to hear what they have to say about his perceptive use of metaphors. I don't even own a car, but I love when the car talk guys talk about leaf spring suspensions. But that's what my neighbor does. She's really, really snooty about the fact that she hates TV. She's also really, really attractive. And I've never had an attractive neighbor before. Never had. Normally, my neighbors tend to be old people or what seems like an army of parentless children. I just assume they were like whisked away in the middle of the night by Peter Pan. And then somewhere along the way to Never Never Land, he got sick of them and dropped them off in a studio apartment in a Dominican neighborhood. But now I have an attractive neighbor. And I've watched enough television that I know what's supposed to happen. Like, I know that we're supposed to hang out, like go to the local coffee shop, complain about our relationship problems. Our friends are like, you two should get together. We're like, no, we shouldn't. Should we? Maybe we both get jobs at the chocolate factory and the conveyor belt's moving too fast. We have to start jamming chocolate down our mouths and down our shirts. You know? The holidays come. We're both snowed in, can't go home for the holidays. Power goes out. We're forced to hold each other for warmth. Next thing you know, we're making out. By sweeps, she's moved into my place. We've turned her place into a detective agency. That's what's supposed to happen, but she doesn't know that because she doesn't watch TV. Recently, I was in my apartment. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. We were riding up and down the elevator. It's what we do. We're adults. We can do that. But we were hanging out and we were talking about the show Top Chef. I like the show. It's a fun show. My very attractive TV-hating neighbor happens to get on the elevator with us with her laundry. And we're just talking, and she overhears us, and she starts screaming at me, "Shut up! Shut up! Don't ruin it!" And I'm like, whoa, slow down. I'm not talking about a movie. I'm talking about a TV show, don't worry. And they're not going to turn it into a book. I mean, if they do, it's a cookbook, and spoiler alert, the ending's delicious. Snaps at me and she's like, I know what Top Chef is. I love Top Chef. I watch it all the time on my laptop. You own a TV. And not just any TV, this little self-righteous jerk owns a super TV. Because she owns a TV that allows her to watch TV, play Scrabble, and poop at the same time. If I want to do that, I have to drag a trash can into the living room. Chances are, whoever I'm playing Scrabble with doesn't really appreciate it. But a computer is a television. Let's just close that loophole right now. A computer is a TV. It's called computer TV. I love computer TV. I watch it at work. That's how I keep up on all my stories. And by stories, I mean cat videos. I love cat videos. I love cat videos. I saw this one video of this cat. This cat, he jumps into this box. Then he jumps out of the box. Then he jumps back into the box. And just when you think he's going to stay in the box, he jumps back out of the box. And he does this over and over and over again for 9 minutes and 38 seconds. I know because I watched the whole fucking thing. I loved it. I loved it. And millions of people have watched this video. Millions of people love this video. They've seen this video of this cat jumping in and out of this box. It's really popular. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder how other popular things do on YouTube. I was thinking, you know who's popular? The president. He's a popular guy. He also makes YouTube videos. Don't know if you know that. He considers himself something of a filmmaker. He does. He's got his own little YouTube channel, and I figured, I wonder how one of his videos would do compared to this cat video. So I went to go look at one of his videos, and it was a video where he was talking to people about what you could do to help those in the Gulf region who'd been affected by the Gulf region. 500 people had watched that video. 500. I felt so bad that I kept hitting refresh over and over again. Because this is the President of the United States, and he is getting his ass handed to him by a cat and a box. That's embarrassing. Like, I feel so bad for him that I feel like anytime he's in town, I just want to run behind him with some cats and some boxes. Like, just throw them in the background. Don't tell him, but just let them hang out in the background and do their thing, because their approval rate never goes down. It doesn't. People love cat videos. Here's how much people love cat videos. I love cat videos. I hate cats. That's ridiculous logic. I hate the Boston Red Sox. I don't go buy season tickets to go see the Boston Red Sox because that would be stupid. But I love cat videos, and I don't know why. I wish I understood why, and I've tried to understand why. I've spent many hours thinking about why. I figured, you know what I'll do? I'll just read the comments that other people have left on these videos, because maybe that could give me some insight as to why I like them so much. So I started going through the comments, and it's typical stuff like, you know, ha 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 ha. ROTFL. Which I know that means rolling on the floor laughing, but I like to think it means reaching out to fellow losers. But I'm going through the comments, and I finally see this one comment that stops me in my tracks. And there's a comment. It said, "Oh my God, I want that cat. That nigger is adorable." Here's the thing. This cat was not black. It was adorable. That was the right adjective. But I don't know what this cat did to become a nigger. Like, it's just a cat happily jumping in and out of a box. Like, I could understand if it was jumping in and out of a box of Newport cigarettes. That's an adorable nigger cat. That is. Because he's got to be really tiny to jump in and out of a cigarette box. How could you not love that? Or if the box represented the duality of trying to live in a homogenized society while at the same time struggling to hold on to your fragmented cultural identity, and because those two worlds are constantly in conflict, you must jump between them like a nigger cat. But to just call the cat a nigger because you don't know any pronouns, that's silly. And here's the thing. I know black people that use the word nigger. I know black people that say it. I know black people that say it a lot. I used to say it. I used to say it a lot. I don't really say it that much anymore because I work a job where I'm one of the few black people. Y'all didn't let me finish. You racists. I work a job where I'm one of the few black people, so it's not very professional to be like, "Hey, nigga, you got a fax." Who's he talking to? It's just him and Andre who work here. Seems really rude. He could have just said, "Hey, Andre, you have a fax." So I don't say it that much. But I understand people who do say it, and I understand the argument that a lot of black people have for saying it. A lot of black people say they say the word nigger because they're co-opting it. They're taking it back and taking the hateful power out of it. Sounds like a good idea. I'm curious to know when we're actually going to get the hateful power out of it. Like, is it a tit for tat thing? Do I have to say 2 niggers for every time someone else said it? Like, what do I have to invest into this reclamation project? Because it still seems pretty hateful, still seems pretty powerful. We're definitely desensitized to it. Like, we're desensitized to it because you can watch like a Laker game. You'll see a Laker game and you'll see like Ron Artest or somebody and it'll be like, hey, nigga, I'm open. It's not a big deal. It slips through the broadcast. There's no FCC fine. Somebody passes him the ball. But let Jack Nicholson get up from the sidelines like, yeah, nigga, he's open. You can't handle the rock. That's problematic. Jack Nicholson's going to have to do some Hanes commercials with Michael Jordan. Hope people forget. Calling a cat a nigger. Here's my other problem with this. You call a cat a nigger, then you can't go and get mad when other people want to use that word because you're throwing it around like some kind of black Smurf. Smurfs never got mad at that if Gargamel was like, I'm feeling pretty Smurfy. No Smurf was ever like, homie, hold up a second. No, you need to Smurf that right now. No. See, let me explain something to you. That is a term of ensmurfment between me and my Smurf brethren. So you need to Smurf the hell on out of here. Take your damn nigger cat Azriel with you. Go. I have a friend who recently turned 30 years old. He had other options. That's what he went with. But for his 30th birthday, he wanted to celebrate. He wanted to do something big. So we were like, okay, what do you want to do? You want to go skydiving? You want to go to a strip club? You want to have a big steak dinner? What do you want to do? He was like, I want to go to medieval times. Which at first I thought that meant he wanted to make a time machine. Which that I was actually cool with, because I was like, oh, that's great. Like, we'll hang out, bond as we try to figure out how to make a flux capacitor. And, you know, then maybe we go back in time, bet on Super Bowls, and warn Richie Valens not to get on that airplane. You know. You can save who you want. I'm going to save... That's not what my friend wanted to do. He wanted to go to medieval times, the dinner and a show place. Which I don't know if any of you have ever been there. No, do not listen to these people. Do not listen to them. They do not care about you. These people are not your friends. If someone invites you to medieval times, they are not your friend. They do not have your best interests at heart. You need to throw nickels in their face and cut your losses, which are really just the nickels you threw. Here is medieval times. If you've never been, you show up to a castle which is typically in a place that doesn't need a castle. At no point in time has anybody ever needed to attack or defend Lyndhurst, New Jersey. you show up to this castle, and there's a lady there in a wench outfit, and she's like, "Welcome to medieval times. Are you ready to step back into the Middle Ages?" Yes, if that's what we're doing, sure. Point me in the direction of a witch. I want to burn it. Because that's medieval times to me. Not, would you like more grog or diet grog with your garlic bread? That's not medieval times. That's false advertising. It's the same problem I have with Build-A-Bear Workshop. I really want to build a bear. I do. He'd have like polar bear legs, grizzly bear's torso, Kodiak's arms, but a panda bear's face. So that way he mauls you like a bear, but he eats you like. But medieval times, I can't burn a witch. Nobody's getting the bubonic plague. I can't pee wherever I want to. All I can do is sit there in a paper crown at a 30-year-old's birthday party next to a bunch of 11-year-olds at 11-year-old birthday parties. And they're all looking at me and my friends like some stark vision of their future. Do you think medieval times will be open in the future? Like not 10 years from now, but like centuries from now. Like I don't see why it wouldn't be. It's a business model that works. It's family fun that also appeals to a 30-year-old sense of ironic whimsy. I just wonder if in the future, would they still be doing the same crappy version of the Middle Ages, or might they move on to ruin another part of history? You know, like the gang wars of the late 80s and 90s. Like you walk in and there's some dude dressed up like a cholo and like Dickies and a wife beater. Like, welcome to medieval times. What set you claim, Vato? Some of you might be confused. Why did I choose an English accent for what I was describing as an East LA street tough? I could put this on you all, and I could say, maybe you need to open your minds. Maybe, just maybe, a single mother from Liverpool got herself a job in Los Angeles, but the only place she could afford was in South Central, and her oldest boy, Alistair, got caught up in that life. I could say that. A more reasonable explanation is this. If you know anything about history, you know that the annals of history erode over time. This much is true if you've ever seen any movie like 300 or Gladiator or Ben-Hur, movies that feature Greeks, Spartans, Romans. In all those movies, all those people always have English accents. What makes you think Mexicans will escape that same fate? No. But medieval times in the future, it'd be cool, you know? You get to go in and pick like blood or Crip. You eat your dinner as you watch dudes do drive-bys on each other. And some lady in a house coat comes running out like, my baby! My baby! Look what they did to Jerome! The buffet's just Funyuns and 40 ounces. You get to call the waitress bitch. When she gives you the check, she also gives you a failure to pay child support notice. Take care of your fucking baby. That's the future. Embrace it. I went to my high school reunion recently. I didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go, and I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know what, Wyatt, you're doing all right in life. Why not go rub it in other people's faces? Oh, I'm cuter than you remember. Well, too little, too late, Father Plappinger. This ship has sailed, sir. I should clarify that I went to an all-boys Catholic school. I probably should have led with that. It's kind of boring when you go to a high school reunion at an all-boys Catholic school. It's just a bunch of guys standing around with name tag stickers like, oh, you're still named Steve. Cool. Hey, Steve, when you were in school, did any of the priests ever, blah, 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 blah? What? No, me neither. No. Hey, check it out. That clock's still there. Odd time. I actually enjoyed going back for my high school reunion. I had a lot of fun. It was nice to catch up with people I hadn't seen in a long time. I saw these two guys that I used to always hang out with in high school, these two guys, Dwayne and Casey. We used to always hang out together, always hung out together. And we're catching up, and all these memories start rushing back. Dwayne and Casey, they used to always have snaps competitions with each other where they would snap on each other, tell like your mama jokes and stuff. You know, like, your mama's so fat, she's probably got hypertension. I don't know, it was never really my thing. And they knew that, so they'd snap on each other, and then whenever they got bored for fun, they'd snap on me, because the best I could ever do was like, well, your mom's so dumb, she didn't graduate high school, and has therefore had to work menial job after menial job to provide for you and your family. I guess it's not really a slam as much as a story of triumph. Someone should really write a Lifetime movie about her. Perhaps they could get Lynn Whitfield to star. You remember Lynn Whitfield from HBO's The Josephine Baker Story? I was gonna say Angela Bassett, but I figured she'd be too expensive. And those are the only two black actresses that get hired. 'Cause it's 1993. That was the best I could do. But we're catching up, and all of a sudden, Dwayne, just out of nowhere, snaps on Casey. And Casey snaps on Dwayne. And they're going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, shit, I know how this game gets played. I need to come up with my own snap for when they snap on me. And I'm like, think, 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 think. And this was a snap that I came up with. Yo mama is like Darfur. Everybody feels bad for her, but nobody really wants to help her. Yeah. Snaps competition pretty much over. It's then just me standing awkwardly by myself. Not even Father Plappinger will touch me. That was the thing, though, when I was a kid, when I was growing up. Like, that was one of those things. You had to be good at snaps. Like, if you weren't black. And when I was growing up, there was all this pressure to be black. Like, maybe not if you were Chinese. But for me, it was something I felt. And you had to fit this idea of what black was. So you had to do snaps. And you had to play basketball. And you had to love hip-hop. And maybe at some point, you applied to be in the Crips. Like, you didn't have to get in, but at least they have your resume on file. You know, at best, you got a second interview. Like, you had to be so black that your big dick had a big dick of its own. And if you weren't that black, people were like, oh, you're a sellout. You're an Oreo. And that's the term for a black person who's considered a sellout because they say that you're black on the outside and white on the inside. Recently, I learned that the term for a Hispanic person who's considered a sellout is a coconut. And an Asian person is called a banana or a Twinkie. I don't think people would be so compelled to be sellouts if it didn't sound so damn tasty. It's like, fuck you, you Oreo. What's that? I'm popular and delicious. Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, this Oreo's got to get back to his math homework. Me, my, moop. I love math. Me, my, moop. Dave Matthews Band. I have a Native American friend, and I was talking to him one day, and I was like, hey, man, what do they call Native American sellouts? They call them apples? And he was like, nah, people don't call us shit. They forgot we fucking live here. And then he turned into a raven and he flew away. I thought about what he said, though, and he made a really good point, which is that people do forget about Native Americans. Like, Native Americans have it really hard in this country. They have it really hard. I would argue that they have it the hardest of any other group in this country. Because just statistically, if you look at them, they have the highest rates of poverty, highest rates of obesity, highest rates of diabetes, lowest education scores. They can't catch a break in the NFC East. They have it really hard. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I want to do something to help raise awareness to the plight of Native Americans. I want to do something. And I thought for a long time, and then I went out and I bought a Jeep Cherokee. I got it in red, obviously. Leather seats for their love of leather work. Sunroof to pray to the sun goddess Yulanuhi. And I really felt like I was making a difference. I felt like, you know, it felt like the Lance Armstrong bracelet of cars. You know, because like you drive a hybrid car and people are like, you're kind of environmental. But pull up to a stoplight in a Jeep Cherokee with a Cleveland Indians hat on. People are like, that guy cares about the red man. I even got a little dream catcher for it. My Native American friend, the Raven, gave it to me. And for those of you that don't know, a dream catcher, it's a Native American good luck charm that's supposed to catch your good dreams and let the bad ones pass. Based on everywhere I've ever seen a dream catcher, I don't think they work. Like, I tend to see them in the same places, which are like trailer parks, broken down Nissans, tattooed on the prison hippies, Native American reservations. Like, they don't work. Unless the point is to catch the good dream and then not give it to you, then they're great. They're flawless, greedy little bastards. Here's one more reason I know they don't work. My Jeep got repoed. My Jeep got repossessed. Thanks a lot, Dreamcatcher. And I don't know if anybody here has ever had their car repossessed. All right. You all at home? No, I'm the fuck up. Fair enough. I'm sure someone here has had their car repoed, But they just don't want to say anything because it's embarrassing. And it is. It's very embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell people that I had my car repoed. So when people would ask where my car was, I'd be like, oh, it got recalled. For what? Faulty payments? Yeah, that money was really unsafe. The structural integrity just could not support my lifestyle. Do you think Rosa Parks, when she flew anywhere, do you think she would accidentally go to first class? Just so that way the flight attendant would be like, pardon me, ma'am, I need to see your ticket. I don't think you belong here. You know what? You're good. You're good. You were good. You're good. You're fine. You're fine. No, you're good. That is Rosa Parks. I am not kicking her out of first class. It did not go well the last time. I moved to New York about 2.5 years ago. I like New York. I was born here. I lived here as a baby, so it's nice to be back. Yeah. Yeah, it's very nice to be back. It's changed a lot since I was a baby. It has. When I was a baby, everywhere you went, it was just shapes and colors everywhere. They have really gentrified the hell out of this place. Like my old neighborhood on the corner, or what I think was the corner, was this amorphous yellow blob. And now it's a Chipotle. I miss that blob. As much as I love living in New York, when I first moved here, I was really homesick. I missed all my friends back in California, and I had like a routine in California. I had stuff I did, and I missed all that. And so I'd never left my apartment. I would just stay there and call my friends back in California all the time. And one day, one of my friends was like, look, Wyatt, you need to get out of the house. You need to go do something. I was like, it's boring. She was like, you live in New York City. It's the most exciting city around. I was like, no. Which that's how I pout. And my friend was like, look, this is what I want you to do. Go grab the newspaper, open it up to the calendar section, and whatever the first thing is in there, I want you to do that. And I was like, no. So I went to get the paper. I had to go down to the corner. Got the paper. I wasn't going to read it on the corner. So I get the paper. I come back in my apartment. I open it up to the calendar section. The first thing in there is the Westminster Dog Show. And I'm like, I am not doing that. My friend's like, why not? And I'm like, I'm a black dude. I have a reputation. My friend was like, oh, get over yourself. If anybody gives you a hard time, tell them you thought it was a dog fight. All right, that works. So I head to the Westminster dog fights, which if you've never been, they have them at Madison Square Garden. And I'm crossing the street about to enter, and standing in front of Madison Square Garden, 2 members of the Ku Klux Klan. I know this because they're wearing the white robes with the pointy white hoods, looking like what I assume a ghost in a geometry teacher's nightmare looks like. You're going to be visited by 3 spirits. One's a rhombus. I can change, quadrangle, I can change. But they're standing there and they're handing out pamphlets. And my first thought is, I want one of those pamphlets. But I don't feel like I can ask for it. Like, I don't feel like I can walk up like, pardon me there, fellas, do you appreciate irony? You don't. All right, fair enough. I want a pamphlet. And I'm trying to figure out how to get a pamphlet. I'm like, how do I get one of these pamphlets? And I see this teenager, a young white kid, and I see him, and I stop him. I'm like, hey, man, you see those ghosts over there? I will give you $20 if you go grab me one of those pamphlets. Kid's like, all right. So I give him $20. He walks across the street, grabs a pamphlet, keeps walking. And now I'm mad, not just because he robbed me, or because I might have been unclear in my directions. But also because I think I just made a racist. I literally gave him a scholarship to Hatred University. And I still don't have a pamphlet. Like, I want a pamphlet. And I see them hand one to this lady, and she kind of looks at it and throws it to the ground. So I run behind her, and I grab it, and I'm like, ha-ha. And I read the pamphlet, and this is what the pamphlet says. It says, the Westminster Dog Show is just like the Ku Klux Klan because they're both into pure breeding. Which seems like a stretch. Like, I don't know anybody who's ever been run out of their neighborhood by a pack of poodles. Doesn't really happen, but I guess if dogs are racist, it gives some credence to that whole nigger cat theory. I read a little further down the pamphlet. It says, this message courtesy of your friends from PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I'm like, oh, okay. These people, they're not from the Klan, they're from PETA. And they're either stupid or this is the worst dry cleaning mix-up in history. Like, I have to assume that there are two racists somewhere, like, at a cross burning wearing fur is murder t-shirts. Just confused. And somewhere else there's a Korean dry cleaner just laughing and eating a cat. But they're from PETA, and it's weird because PETA has like all this clout and stuff, but they do stuff like this all the time. Like last summer, I don't know if y'all remember this, but there were some billboards that PETA put up around the country, and on these billboards there were overweight women in bathing suits at the beach, and the caption said, "Save the whales, eat vegan." Which is kind of a weird message. Because it seems like you're targeting everybody who's not overweight and telling them to eat vegan, which just means more meat for the fat people, which then just creates a shame spiral that they can't get out of. Just seems inconsiderate. But that's what PETA does. They put up billboards like that. They dress up like Klan members, all to make their point. Which I assume that their point is that they're assholes. Because they had this thing on their website. On their website, they had this thing called the Animal Liberation Project. And what it was a campaign to raise awareness to animal rights. All right, that's a good idea. How do you plan to do that? Well, how about we compare the animal rights movement to the civil rights movement? Oh, okay. How might you go about doing that? How about with pictures? So there's a picture of like a slave, and he's in shackles, and he's got like whip marks all up and down, and it's really brutal. And then next to it is a picture of an elephant at the circus. He's got a little shackle around his foot, presumably so he doesn't get into the peanuts, but not because freedom's going to turn him into some sort of George Washington barber. But they're like, these are the same. And then flip a little further, there's a picture of a bunch of women working in a textile mill in the early 1900s. And there's a caption, and it talks about how these women worked for low money, and they worked excruciatingly long hours, and they were the constant victims of abuse and harassment. And next to it is a picture of a bunch of chickens in a chicken coop laying eggs. Now, I get what they're going for, but it just seems like breasts, legs, thighs. Congrats, PETA. You just sexually harassed women and chickens. Nice work, jerks. But they're like, these are the same. Flip a little further. There's a picture of a man's hand on the border fence. Next to it is a picture of a monkey's hand on a cage at the zoo. And they're like, these are the same. Those monkeys want the jobs you don't want anymore. They would love to be janitors and landscapers. Now here's the thing. Let me just say this. Let me just say this right now. I love animals. I love animals. They're delicious. They're great with gravy. I love animals. I think it's wrong to test makeup on a bunny. They're cute enough. They don't need it. But to compare the animal rights movement to the civil rights movement, I don't know, it just raises a lot of questions for me. I think my first question is, where were the animals during the civil rights movement? They want my help so bad, where the fuck were they? I don't remember any baby seals at the March on Washington. Bobby seals, sure. Baby seals, no. Which Bobby Seale, that dude was a Black Panther. I just found this out. There were no real Panthers in the Black Panther Party. They were just humans. Now, granted, they accomplished a lot, but a real Panther can affect serious change. You want to get funding for your school? Send a Panther down there. Put a little tie and some glasses on him. Yeah, you'll get new computers. I want to open a racist bakery. I'm going to call it Cake, Cake, Cake. That's silly. That's silly. I want to go to a Tea Party rally. I do. I really want to go to a Tea Party rally. For the obvious reasons that I clean up with the ladies. But I see them all the time on television, and they are angry. Like, those are some angry, angry old people. They are. I have not seen old people that angry since the end of Cocoon. And just like the old people in Cocoon, they just came out of nowhere. I actually have a theory about the Tea Party, and my theory is this. Come with me in the Wayback Machine. We're going to go back to 2007. I'm sorry, Richie Valens, I'm not going to be able to save you this trip. We're just going back to 2007, and I just remember in 2007, I used to see all these stories about the youth vote, and there were all these people asking questions. Will the youth turn out to vote, or will they suffer from voter apathy? Then reporters would go talk to young people, and they'd say, are you going to vote? And young people would be like, whatevs. Which, if you've ever needed an indication that somebody's apathetic, it's probably the inability to finish a word. But then Barack Obama came on the scene and young people got totes inspired. They did. They started like making posters for him and wearing buttons and wearing t-shirts that said hope and had his face on it. They started reading news blogs all the time, which, like, no offense, but if you're getting all your information from news blogs, it's kind of like getting all your shopping advice from the people who scream shit out in the audience of The Price is Right. Some of it's okay, most of it's worth $1. But young people, they were in it. They cared. And the ones that cared the most, every weekend, they'd get on buses and get on trains and go to small towns in swing states like Pennsylvania and Florida and Ohio, and they'd go talk to old people about why they should vote for Obama. But they're old people, so that means they have to come inside and drink some lemonade and fix a clock. But they did it because they were committed. They did it. They spent time with these old people. They flipped through their photo albums and listened to their stories and helped them go shopping. And after a while, the old people were like, all right, I'll vote for your friend Bing Bong Go Gaga. Here, have some hard candy. But these young people, they cared so much that they would keep checking in with these old people. They would check in with the old people, and if the old people ever had misinformation, those young people would be on another bus back out there to explain to those old people why their friend Gertie from down the street is wrong, why Obama is not that Nigerian prince who emailed them, that if he gets elected, he's not going to build a giant robot that eats old people and converts them to wind power. And the old people, they were satisfied. So when the election came, they voted for Obama. And then the young people, they were so excited that they stopped doing everything. Which makes sense. Like if you ever watch a football game and it's really close going into halftime, and then one team is like, you know what, we did good work out here. Let's fucking take the pads off and go to Pizza Town. That's what young people did. They just went to Pizza Town. They fucking stopped doing everything. They stopped making posters. There were no cool posters for health care reform. There were no cool posters for don't ask, don't tell. No posters, no buttons. They stopped wearing the Hope t-shirts, which that one I actually kind of understand. Because the meaning of that shirt had changed. Like initially, it meant I hope this guy gets elected. But now it means like, I hope when I go to a bar tonight, I hope I meet a woman. And I hope we hit it off. And I hope she comes back to my place. And I hope she's wearing this t-shirt in the morning. Whoop, whoop. Yes, we can get breakfast in the morning, but don't read too much into it. I just met you. But young people, they stopped caring. They forgot about everything. But the old people, they didn't forget. Because they didn't vote for Obama because they cared about his platform. Old people, they don't care about universal health care. They already have their own health care. You think old people care about gay marriage? No, nobody's marrying their old asses. They don't give a shit about clean energy. Most of them got their pensions making dirty energy. Like the only reason old people voted for Obama was because they thought if they voted for Obama, young people would come visit them every weekend. They voted for universal company. And now Obama won, and there are no young people coming by, but they'd already made a bunch of cakes and put on some sock hop music. Now they're all starting to get a little worried. They're like, where are the young people? So they all got in their Buick Skylarks and go out looking for the young people. But they don't have the young people's addresses, so they go to the one address they do know, which is the White House. They all show up there, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, are you looking for young people too? Yeah. Hey, give us our friends back. We know you have them in there, Bing Bong. Give them back. We made lemon squares and cocoa. We were going to have a tea party. And that's the only reasonable explanation I have. That's the only reasonable explanation I have for all that anger, because they are angry. I have not seen old people that angry since the end of Cocoon 2. It's a sequel. They have to get angrier. They're so mad. You watch like the coverage and you see them and they're calling the president a socialist and they're calling him a Nazi. And some even have posters where they've taken a picture of the president and drawn a little Hitler mustache on him. And whenever I see that, I just want to go there with a Sharpie and just draw that out into like a full mustache and give him a beard and a mohawk. And when they're like, what are you doing? I'll be like, now it's a Mr. Tea Party rally. Yeah. I pity the fool who doesn't have health care. I do. That's ridiculous. That's a third world problem. We're a first world country. What the fuck? Thank you. Your applause just gave everybody health care. It's so crazy because, like, there's no reason to go and put a Hitler mustache on a picture of the president. There's no reason to do that. Like, the only reason to do that is if you're trying to piss off Nazis. Because I'm sure there is nothing that pisses Nazis off more than seeing their beloved leader's signature look on a biracial guy. What? No! That's the exact opposite of what we were talking about. I assume Nazis just gesture like this. They're just hateful penguins. It doesn't make sense on Obama. And it definitely doesn't make sense on Michael Jordan. Why is Michael Jordan doing Hanes commercials with a Hitler mustache? How does that happen? How does nobody tell him that's a bad idea? Did he just dribble a basketball onto the set and people are like, well, you know what they say, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. Like, how does that happen? The only explanation I have for that is that Michael Jordan has no real friends. Because a real friend doesn't let that happen. A real friend, they don't let you drive drunk. A real friend, they hold your hair back when you're throwing up. A real friend doesn't take you to medieval times. Ben. And a real friend doesn't let you leave the house in a Hitler mustache to go sell underpants to people. No. That's what happens to jerk-off captains in Police Academy movies. It's crazy. You see that. You see stuff like the Tea Party, and I don't know, like, there's a part of me that feels like, oh, maybe we haven't made that much progress. Like, everybody always talks about all this progress we made. It's like, maybe we haven't, because stuff like this still exists. Like, we've definitely made strides. We made strides when, like, a black man can be president of the United States and two white men can't marry each other. Because, like, my Uncle Pete said the white man could do whatever he wanted. So I assumed two would be unstoppable. It's always strange when you talk to people who are against gay marriage. And they say, well, if you let gay people get married, what's to stop someone from marrying a horse? I'll tell you what, the horse. You think horses want to marry people? No, horses are sluts. You can't turn a horse into a horsewife. Every pimp knows that. That's why they keep stables. I feel like we'll never know true equality in this country until the day we can learn to treat Martin Luther King Day and Susan B. Anthony Day and Yom Kippur and days like that with the same disrespect that we treat St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. I don't know if you know anything about St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if there are any Irish people here. Okay. Do you know what the real meaning of St. Patrick's Day is? You say snakes? No, you're wrong. You're not a real Irish person. Get the fuck out of here. Get her. She's faking it. It's not about snakes. That's the thing people always like say, oh, it's about driving the snakes out. No, that's not what St. Patrick's Day is about. St. Patrick's Day is a day that commemorates a man named Maewyn, who was a pagan, who was called by God to teach other pagans about Christianity. Which that's not an easy thing to do. That's like getting a baby to teach geometry to a wolf. But Maewyn did it. He did it. He brought Christianity to all of Ireland. And we commemorate his deeds by doing what? By turning rivers green, getting wicked trashed, and kissing each other because we have buttons that tell us to do so. We need to do the same for Dr. Marty's Day. Because right now people just see it as a day the mail doesn't come because black people bitched we didn't have our own holiday. But it's more than that. And it feels like if we really want to live Dr. King's dream, the next Martin Luther King Day that comes around, we should all throw on New Orleans Saints jerseys, get drunk off Hennessy, and make out with a bunch of black people. And for Susan B. Anthony Day, we should all have a big Sadie Hawkins dance and scissor fuck. For equality! When a woman has a lot of gay friends, she's called a fag hag. Not my term. I think a man with a lot of lesbian friends should be called a Mike and Dyke. That's silly. That's silly. I like music. It's kind of a stupid thing to say. Nobody ever really says they hate music. Like, if you do, you're an asshole. I'm sorry if any of you hate music. You're an asshole. Congratulations, you just hipstered hipster. Yeah. You're that bescarfed Jedi that other hipsters are afraid of meeting at a Bushwick Tunnel party. What? You hate music? I'm not topping that. Better take this mustache off. I've started masturbating on the ground recently. It's my way of pouring out a little for the ladies who aren't here anymore. It's all right, I can do it. I'm single, so there's nobody there to judge me. I'm single, and I've realized I'm not good at relationships. I don't do relationships well. I have commitment issues, and I just don't do the little things in relationships well. Like, I'll see couples that like hold hands in public, and I've never been comfortable with that. I can't do that. I've never been comfortable with that. Like, I get freaked out just shaking a woman's hand in public. Like, just like, we're not together. This is just business. I'm available. Never been comfortable with, like, holding hands in public. But lately, I've seen those couples that interlock their pinkies. And for as lame as it is, I can do that one. Because that one says, I like you, but I'm okay with losing you. Like, all we need is a strong breeze and we are finished. Why'd y'all break up? A mailbox got in the way. As I've gotten older, my friends have gotten older too. Be creepy if they got younger. This is Joey, he's 2, we like to hit the bars. Joey, did you make boom boom again? Hold your liquor, baby. Don't you cry. Not in front of these ladies. You're ruining it. Oh. My friends, they're all, as they're getting older, as my friends are all getting older, they're all getting into relationships. Some of them are getting married. They're getting into serious relationships. And I'm one of the few single people left. And so they've taken it upon themselves to set me up on dates, typically with the only other black person they know, which tends to be the security guard at their office building. What? You and Trishelle have so much in common. You both don't know who Vampire Weekend is. She can protect you. I've tried to get them to stop. I want them to stop doing this. So I've started telling them I'm into weird shit. You don't want to set me up. I'm into weird shit. I'm into like scat porn and cosplay. One of my friends was like, oh, well, you should meet Maggie. No, I shouldn't. No, keep Maggie the fuck away from me. No. You know what? I'm sorry. When I said cosplay, I meant women that like to have sex while doing Bill Cosby impressions. Totally different. Like, hey, daddy, I want you to play with my boobies. And then you pull out the pudding pop and the sabba zooba 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 zabba zooba 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 zooba. I dated a Jewish girl recently, which was cool. My dick and balls are very open-minded when it comes to religion. They are. They just want to learn. I dated a Jewish girl, and she was cool, except she was really high maintenance. You know, and actually, let me just say, she was not cool. She was so crazy. I was trying to be nice, but no, fuck it. I'm not gonna. She was crazy. Like, she was really, really high maintenance to the point that, like, no matter where we went, she would always take 3 or 4 hours to get ready, no matter where we were going. And she had this weird thing where she wouldn't eat at a restaurant that had more than 2 locations. So she wouldn't eat at, like, fast food joints, but she also wouldn't eat at, like, a Chili's. Which, fuck you, that's a neighborhood restaurant. I don't know what your problem with an Awesome Blossom is. She wouldn't get blowjobs. Nah, she wouldn't do that. She'd make her overweight friend Allison do them. One day, Allison and I had enough. Allison more than me. But I was just like, I was so sick of it. I went to her and I was just like, what is your problem? Why are you so high maintenance? She was like, I'm a Jap. You're a racist. What the hell do Japanese people have to do with you taking 3.5 goddamn hours to get ready for something? She was like, no, stupid Jap, Jewish American princess. Oh, my bad. And apparently the bad of any Japanese person who's ever been offended. 2 Jewish girls go running through a Forever 21 like, you're getting 2 pairs of boots? Oh my God, you're such a Jap. At the same time, though, good for the Jews. Seriously, good for them for taking somebody else's slur and making it their own. Good for them. I'm just curious to know when they're going to take the word nigger for themselves like they took the word Jap. Because they can have it, because black people, we pretty much use the shit out of it. We're calling cats niggers. We're done. We've gotten as much toothpaste out of that tube